Hello guys, welcome to another amazing agent success video. And today we're interviewing Alexis Valladares, the real estate coach, the Miami cold calling king. And I can't wait to break down what he's got to share with our group and how he creates agents to have success in cold calling. And here at Absolute Top Dollar, we're all about that. So, Alexis, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to hopefully drop some gems that newer agents or agents that are struggling can use to build their business. So I'm happy to be here.
I know you are. I know you are. I can't go on Instagram without hearing you cold call somebody, some for
Let's
sale by
go.
owner.
That's the point. That's the whole point of social media, staying top of mind.
Yes, yes. And I just love your style, being a fellow cold caller and just watching you, I can really see the craft. I can really see, some people, they don't see when you just do the cold call, they think, oh, that's easy.
Yeah.
But when you come from cold calling, I can see the craft. I can see the way that you position your words, your tone, everything. It's really brilliant. So
Thank you.
kudos to you for being a badass. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
So let's break it down. So, how did you even get into real estate and where did cold calling even enter your life to have success in that way?
Yeah, it's a great question. To give you like the short-winded version of the story, I've been doing entrepreneurship since I was 14. Like in high school, I had a legitimate business where I would wholesale accessories for iPhones from Alibaba
Oh
overseas, and I would get other students in other high schools, and I would, give them product before school, and then they would go and sell it in different high schools, and that was my first official, electronics business. And for 10 years before, so from I was 14 to 23, I launched every business under the sun that you can imagine. And just by trying to work hard, I tried to make it happen. And everything ended up always failing. I hit a really rock bottom point in 2019. I moved away from Miami to a place called Sheboygan, Wisconsin. I don't know if anybody knows what that is. It's a really, really small town in Wisconsin. I went to go work a job over there carrying golf bags and I hated it. And it was like one of those like moments in your life where you're like, dude, how much longer can I keep doing this? You know, I came back broke, didn't save any money, like really, really bad mental space. And my mom was always kind of flirting with the idea of telling me, like, why don't you get your license and you can do fix and flips? I had no idea what I was doing. January 2020, I started taking Gold Coast. I went to school and just kind of started connecting with people in the class, and they were like telling me what they wanted to do. Some of them wanted to be agents and represent buyers and sellers. I had no idea what that was. And I said, cool, we'll give it a shot. I started at Keller Williams. First thing they told me to do was just call my sphere. And I'm like, dude, I'm a high school dropout, college dropout. No one's going to give me a house to sell. I'm 23 years old and I'm a loser. So I asked my broker. I went into this mindset where I was like, screw it. I'm gonna make this happen. I'm gonna make six figures my first year, and I'm gonna do whatever it takes. So I asked my broker at the time. I was like, how can I make six figures realistically with like my sphere not trusting me at all? And he said, if you cold call people, they don't know who you are. You can create a new persona, build new skills, and make it happen. So I started, this is, Carolyn, if I can tell you the difference between me and most agents know exactly what to do right now. They know who to call and eventually they'll get better. They just never make the calls. I
Mhm.
spent 8 hours a day making phone calls as a brand new agent and it was miserable. I would sometimes just talk about their dogs or their sports teams, and I had no idea what I was talking about. How's the weather? How are you? And that's not what you're supposed to do. But I was making the reps happen. I was reading books, watching videos, listening to my calls. COVID hit that year, right? So eventually I stopped cold calling, started doing rentals. And 2021, I got back on the cold calls. The first for sale by owner cold call that I made turned into a double rep listing, 30K. That was my first listing, my first deal. And ever since then, it took off.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Because I think that in the world that we live in with, Instagram and success and people just having that vulnerability to kind of say, like, hey, like I wasn't always like this. Like this
Of
is
course not.
really where I came from. And freaking going to Wisconsin, like that was like a definite depression. Like
No,
from Miami to Wisconsin.
I was in a bad spot, in a bad,
Yeah.
bad spot mentally for sure.
Yes. And, the beautiful thing about that is, every day is a new day. Every day is another opportunity, and I just had a conversation actually with my son, and I was like, do you think 10 years ago that I would see myself where I am today? I have almost a very similar high school dropout, no sphere, no nothing, very similar story,
Hmm.
and I also applied 40 hours a week to cold calling. What else
Yep.
are you doing? If you have no deals, like
What are you
what
doing?
else are you doing?
Yeah.
So, and it works. I mean, that's the crazy thing,
And it's very simple.
it's
You
so
know, it's very simple. It's a straight line process in my opinion.
yes, yes. So you just got right to it. That's the beautiful thing with cold calling. You need no prior success. Nobody knows who you are. I love how you said that you could create a new persona, right?
That's
Um,
exactly what I did.
That's beautiful. That is so beautiful. And I think that a lot of people need that, right? When they talk about like, being connected, like with your sphere, like you said, people are not going to just, oh yeah, let me give you my house to sell,
Nope.
Uh,
Especially if you're young.
yeah, and when you're young, it's even worse. Yes.
Mhm.
So tell us a little bit about what that experience was for you. So you started in production. Did you like working in the sales, like working with the customers? Like I remember my first listing that I took from a cold call. I was so nervous. I had sweat dripping down my back. Like, oh my God, am I really doing this right now?
Yeah.
Walk us through kind of like the beginning stages of Alexis.
In retrospect, now that I do what I do, I love this way more than what I did in real estate. I thought I liked it back then because obviously I was making a lot of money, and there was a lot of homeowners that I did help where they were grateful. There was also a lot of homeowners because I was specifically working with for sale by owners that were very ungrateful, and it
Mm,
sometimes made the job a drag. But now it's constant daily text messages and videos from people that are completely transforming their life because of what we're teaching them, and that for me is amazing. But
yeah.
when I was, and this is a tip, a nugget that I'll give the audience. I did a training yesterday here in Miami, and it's one thing that I have that a lot of my wealthier friends have that a lot of these agents don't have, and it's the ability and the want to take risk. That's all it is. I was willing to get in front of people in the Keller Williams office. It's like a bullpen, and you're
Hmm.
making calls in front of people. And I was like, if I look stupid, that's okay, but I'm not going home today without an appointment. I'm not going home today without another opportunity. And there was people that would sit in the bullpen and they would just stare at their script all day and listen. Like, I just want to listen to your calls. And when I feel ready, then I'll make the calls. And that is not how this world works.
Mm,
Ones that are willing to take risk. Me leaving Miami, packing my stuff and going to Wisconsin, risk. Me starting every single new business that I started, risk. Me making calls in front of people when I didn't know what to say, risk. Me going to a listing presentation without having any idea what I was doing, winging it,
mhm,
risk. But
mm,
risk, reward, and then you start learning. So if there's one thing that, we always talk about scripts, objection handlers, all that stuff comes along the way of you
mhm,
taking the right steps and you actually walking in the fire to make it
mhm,
happen. But if you're just watching on the sidelines, watching videos, there's so many people that are watching this video right now that all they do is watch freaking videos and they
mm.
never pick up the phone and make the call.
Yes.
That's what I want to like leave the person watching this video with is the energy and the excitement to at least just want to make the phone call. You
Yes,
know,
yes. Throw yourself over the bridge, right? Like you don't know what's gonna happen. They say walk on water,
you're gonna eventually learn how to swim.
you're gonna learn how to swim. And especially when we're talking about cold calling, right? Like, in my opinion, you can't mess it up. Like, you
No,
can't mess it up. There's always a new person to call. There's always a new lead. There's always like if you take that call and you totally like say the complete wrong thing, you totally blow it, like you just make another call. That's it.
that's it.
That's as simple as it is. Tell me, like, because I'm really inspired by just like how much inspiration you have. Like, I can see it in your videos, I see it when you train. Like, you just have this like fire inside of you. Like, where does that come from? Like, what is your source of
Yeah.
passion?
Well, my parents are immigrants, my parents are Cuban parents, and a lot of people are like at a how do I say this? They're at a very superficial conscious level, like level of consciousness, and they're not really aware of what opportunity they have in their hands. I'm very much aware every single day that I wake up that I could have easily been born on an island with no food, no water, no electricity, and
Mm,
not be in the United States of America with the privilege to worry about business and building and making money.
mm,
Like the fact that I get to worry about waking up and being productive and working out and taking care of my body is a blessing in itself. So what I've been saying lately is like everything that I do is icing on the cake, you
Mhm.
know? And people don't realize that the client that you lost, the deal that just wanted to refund, like we were just talking about off camera, students that want to leave the program, clients that want to cancel the contract, they were never yours in the first place. You are not entitled to anything in this world. Everything else that you get on top of food, shelter, and water is icing on the cake. And when you
Mm.
have that kind of mentality of like, nothing was mine, so I can't lose anything, you're
Mm.
fearless. You're almost borderline like in controlled recklessness, you know? And it
Wow.
just, you become a machine because I can't lose anything. I only have everything to gain. And
Right.
it's a perspective, you know, because a lot of people, a lot of my friends that are Cuban parents too, they're very comfortable, very entitled. I deserve this, I deserve that. It's like, I don't deserve anything. I'm going to get what I work for. And if I
Hmm.
don't get it, it's because I didn't work for it. That's it. And if I lose it, it was never mine in the first place.
Yeah. And then you know what the crazier part is with the probate side of the world? Guess what? In 2 seconds, it's all over.
It's all gone.
It's there's nothing. So all the wealth, all everything that you acquired, all the success, it's like this. Is lights out.
You don't take it with you, you
You don't
know?
take it with you,
Yeah.
and like so applying that, because that's what I always like. I'm always at the front seat of that, seeing families, people passing away. So it's like
Hmm.
I'm always like very, relevant of how real this moment is. Like literally,
Yeah.
literally, this is the only moment we have,
That's it.
right? Yesterday's gone, doesn't even exist. Today is not promised. Like this is our moment. And like you said, every situation is an opportunity to even be making the call, to even be, anything that we have. And like you said, that's where your risk comes in. Like, poof, go for it. What do you have to lose? You really have
Nothing.
nothing to lose. Absolutely nothing to lose.
Yeah.
That's
It's a very
incredible.
powerful mindset. And I ran into some issues 2023 because I was making a lot of money as a realtor and I started feeling entitled and privileged. And, I thought the money was never going to stop coming in. And this perspective of like this very confident yet humble perspective that I have now didn't exist. I was a flashy
Mm,
guy that was making six figures as a realtor and I ended up losing it all. Again, I had two houses, I had money in investments and everything gone because of my inability to put both feet on earth and say you're just another human being that is making money and all
mm,
one day it's going to come to an end. Everything in
mm,
life is temporary. So
mm,
now my principle is just serving other humans, just finding other
mm.
people that are in the same situation that I was in and figuring out a way to help them get out of that situation. And when you do that, as a human, you're never going to be at a lack of resources because you're always helping other people find their way.
Yes, yes. And I think your vulnerability, I have to keep saying that because
Yeah.
I think we live in a society that refuses to admit their vulnerabilities or, I made a video today, and I was talking about, just failure, and we as entrepreneurs, as realtors, it's like a constant failure, but yet on Instagram and the videos and everything, it's all about everybody's wins. It's all about everything positive. But
Yep.
if we're honest with ourselves, like I fail every single day. Like I
Hmm.
get people saying no to me every day. I get, it goes down to like your mouse not working, your camera not working. Like it's like a
Yeah.
constant,
I say it's war. It's a
it's
fun war to
war.
fight. We text the boys in the morning. We have an all guys group. Like my sales team is all guys. Boys, ready? War. Let's go.
It's
Fight.
war.
It's war. But it's fun. This is a blessing because I could be in Sheboygan, Wisconsin carrying golf bags. I could my mom could not be around. I had a nightmare. Horrible nightmare last night that my godmom called me that my mom passed away.
Oh my God.
Horrible nightmare. Woke up with extreme gratitude, made sure my mom was okay. When you have those dreams where you're like, oh my God, I don't even want this to be real.
Yes.
And I think being vulnerable, Carolyn, is just so important in entrepreneurship. There's so much
Mm,
fake stuff out there. And in all reality, look, we're doing great this year. We're doubling our numbers from last year. I've never ever made this much money in my life. I've also never ever failed this much in my life. I've never done so many things that I've had no idea how to do. I've never encountered so many negative situations that I've had to solve.
mm-hmm.
With the territory comes that responsibility. The more you grow in income, the more stress, the more responsibility, the more things you have to handle, the more problems you have to solve. That's why you're getting paid more.
Right.
and
And
people don't understand that.
to talk about how you never really arrive, because that's what I was talking.
Such a good topic.
Isn't that funny? Like you never, like when you're at one level, you think if I could only just get here,
Yeah.
then, talk to us about that because you've been through a lot of growth. So you've probably
Yeah.
experienced this several times.
So I had a conversation with one of my team leaders when I was an agent in 2021 at Earl's. It's a restaurant here in Miami. And I told him, man, if you could just get me to 10K a month in income, like my life will change forever. And like that was a number where I was like, forever. And then I'm in the Lamborghini yesterday with Mike. And I said, Mike, man, if you can just get me to this number net, right, a month. And mind you, this number is completely different than the 10K a month. And I stopped for a second and I was like, hold on. I'm in a Lamborghini with Mike, and my life looks like this. There's just never a moment where. So you have to understand that this is the big key for me. You can't wait until you hit a certain milestone to say, okay, I'm proud of myself. I'm happy. I'm satisfied. There's always going to be a next level. When I first started, it was like if I made $1 million a year, I'm set forever. Now it's like, no, I need $100 million in 10 years, you know? As long as you're able to live in the moment, be present, be hungry for more, but be eternally grateful and wake up with the feel. Again, like for me, when I'm having rough periods of time in business, it's because I'm greedy and I'm
Mm,
only looking for more and more and more, and I'm not being present with what I already have. That's when I start struggling in business. When I'm grateful, when I have nothing to lose, when I'm just waking up and saying, thank you, God, for family, water, food, shelter, and opportunity, everything just starts happening positive in my life,
mm,
you know? But it's very difficult to put your 2 feet on the ground once you've been through so much growth and failure and growth and failure. And you're capable of so much more. But
mm,
sometimes you're not prepared yet. You have to keep going through tests and trials and tribulations. And remember, Carolyn, when you ask for more income, you need to learn how to bear more responsibility and stress. So when you ask for patience, you're not going to like immediately just get sent this gift box with like patience. You're going to
mm,
get an opportunity to show how patient you can be. If you
mm,
ask for strength, you're not going to get a gift box with strength. You're going to get a situation that's going to really challenge you to show your strength, which is going to
mhm,
be a tough situation. And that's how to kind of wrap this chapter up. It's not about where you get to, it's about who you become along the way. When you make $1 million, for 1 second, you'll be like, holy crap, I just made $1 million. And then you'll say, wait a second, I feel the same. But look at who I became along the way. Look at my
right.
character. Look at how I treat people. Look at how kind I am, how I prioritize others. Look at how in shape my body is because of who I had to become mentally to get to this position. And
Yeah.
that's the treasure. And you keep that forever. Who you become it's always evolving and it's yours forever.
So I'm gonna take us a
Let's
little
do
bit
it. Let's
deeper
do
on
it.
this,
Let's do it. I love it.
okay? Because I think that as entrepreneurs, as realtors getting into the business, right? And I think as a realtor, it's like an image of success, right? We dress well, we have suits, we're well made, we look good on the outside, maybe drive a nice car,
Right.
we've got the whole image thing going on, right? But like you shared your story. You were not always that person, right? You were,
Mhm.
struggling. You were in freaking Wisconsin carrying golf bags. How do you shift your identity?
Oh,
Okay. Because we're talking about going to that next level, right? And so think about even the realtors that are watching this that maybe they are in a tough situation right now and real estate is something people cling to for that opportunity, right? Like there's no limit on us. Like we could sell, buildings, we can sell a mall, we can rent apartments. I mean, there's no income limit. So we can dream as big as we want, right?
mhm.
But you're just this maybe person that doesn't even have any money right now. How do you shift your identity? We can dress up however we want on the outside, but on the inside,
Right.
how do you shift your identity into becoming that new person?
So there's a lot of factors to this part of identity shift because I remember exactly the moment where I was like, I need to be a new person if I want new results. You have to get to number one, you have to get to a really, really low point in life. I have a few friends that we've had, some deeper conversations, and we all have something in common. For us, and this is very, very vulnerable, in 2019, I was very like in a bad mental space. Like, is this life worth it or not? Kind of conversation. And at that point, it's like, I'd rather not live than
Mm.
experience what I'm experiencing, to be very honest, right? And a lot of my friends that have really had some wild success talk about how they've gotten to that low point where you're
Mm.
like, maybe I don't even deserve to be on this earth. Maybe I'm better off not being on. Like, that's the conversation going on in your head, right?
Mm.
And then once you get to a place where you get out of that, everything else is, like I said, icing on the cake. Because at one point you genuinely considered not being here, right?
Yeah.
Then, technically and
And that's
strategically,
like you can't get much further down than that.
no, you
I
really
mean,
can't. And maybe
that's
some people can't understand like how could, because right now it's like I'm at such a point where I'm so grateful for life. I can't, like, I can have my roughest day and I will never think about that again right now.
right.
But back in, I was a 22-year-old kid. Go back to elementary school. The elementary school run for me was even worse. That was where I didn't know a lot. Like, in the 22-year-old version of me thinking about that maybe wouldn't have attempted, but the 9-year-old was really close. And that's
Mm.
something that I don't really talk about. The 9-year-old getting bullied in elementary because I was a try hard, because I
Mm.
wanted to try hard in recess and beat everybody. Like, that guy was really close to not being here.
Mm.
So once you get to those levels in life, I grew up in a very chaotic childhood home as well.
Mm.
Saw a lot of things I probably wasn't supposed to. And back then it's like the worst trauma of your life. And now it's like your biggest strength that you use,
Mm.
you
Mhm.
know? Um,
But do
but
you think that those depths that your soul went is what actually gives you the empathy, and gave you the gift? As even now I hear people say sometimes from their traumas and stuff, like they're actually thankful for it, and it kind
oh
of is
yeah,
like so weird, because like how could you be thankful for something that was so painful maybe in that time, but
yeah,
it's that empathy that now you have that now allows you to then be a coach that then allows you to now help people,
right.
and I don't know if everybody's hearing this. Alexis is not just a real estate coach like teaching you how to do your cold
No,
calls,
yeah,
like you are literally going into the deep, the depths of people and
yeah,
helping them kind of come out and
yeah.
find this
That's
success.
what people don't understand, like the messages. I got a message from one of my students yesterday. He's in his 50s. He's dealing with a really, really tough life situation. Someone really, really close to him is dealing with a really, shitty illness, which is cancer. And the messages that I get from him to the group of 300 realtors, it makes me cry because
Mm.
it's like I'm 28 years old impacting this person's life that could be my dad. And it's
Mm.
because of how I'm able to communicate and help people get out of their hole because I was able to do that for myself.
Mm.
And sometimes I said this the other day. I said I wish it would have been worse because the more you go into that trauma side, the more you're able to like build up after it. But
Mm.
I guess I don't know if I could have handled worse. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if I could have handled more back then as a kid.
Mm.
But most definitely, like, it's a privilege to go through the stuff that I went through, and everybody has their own version of trauma, but it's the best human beings that I know. Like, I'm not going to speak for others, right? But I've had really great conversations with some really, really wealthy and hyper successful friends. They've been to the darkest places in the world,
Mm.
so dark, where you wouldn't even imagine. And
Mm.
that is the driver, right? Because we drive away from pain as humans,
Mhm.
and the more pain that you experience as a child, as a young adult, as a teenager, the more drive you have as an adult to prove everybody wrong. And then eventually, once you know that that doesn't really do anything for you, it's like, I just want to help people get out of that situation.
Mhm.
Because I know what it's like to be rock bottom in your head, no identity, no confidence, no hope, no faith. And
Mhm.
then it all turns around. And, like, I think it's God. Obviously, I'm a big believer in God. You can't do it alone.
Mhm.
But then you realize, and I'm so thankful, I've realized it at an early age. I love cars, Carolyn. I love watches. I went to Medellin this year and I spent 6 months in a third world country living there. And my
Wow.
life is completely different now. Do I want a nice watch? Sure. Do I want a nice car? Sure. I don't have any cars right now. I moved to Edgewater. I sold all of my cars. I had my dream
Nice.
car. And I'm just like
Mhm.
living this life where I walk 20,000 steps every day and my feet are on the ground. I'm present. My
Mhm.
employees come first. My family comes first. My grandma's retired because of me. I help my mom every single month. And it's like my life is amazing, because, and not because it's perfect, because there's
Yeah.
chaos everywhere in my business because it's scaling. But
Mhm.
but my perspective is very humble. And it was not like that 2 years ago. I was like, very like, I'm the guy, I'm so cocky, you can't bring me down. And then you get knocked down again. And it's like, hey, relax. Everybody can get knocked down again. And
Right.
don't mistake me. If you see me on a stage, I'm the most confident person on earth.
Yeah.
But my feet are really, really well put on the ground. To really quickly, I don't know if we have time to answer the question
Yeah.
about identity. It's
Yes.
important to get around people that fuel your identity. Because in
Mm,
the beginning, when you start dressing up as like, this is what I did, right? So I went from never making more than 20 grand in a year to wanting to make $250,000 in a year. You have to dress different, talk different, feel different, right? And move different. And when I started doing that, people were like, what are you doing? You're not that guy. Who are you? There's a process of elimination like math. Friends leave, family members leave, isolation, loneliness, pain, suffering, and
mm,
most give up along that journey. It's a lonely walk to
mm,
become a new person because no one believes you.
mm,
Because, for me especially, it was 12 years of saying I'm going to be a new guy and never making it happen. So it was like, bro, you're done. Just go to school and get a job. Everybody was just telling me to do that.
mhm,
It's a very lonely road, and you find new people. You find mentorship is so important because of not the scripts, not the objection handlers. This is what people fail to realize. It's about who they help you become, how they
mhm,
help you mold your identity, tap into your subconscious beliefs, and rewire the way that you think subconsciously. Like everything that we do in my coaching program is very scientific, very psychological. I don't have a doctor's degree, but I have a human degree in knowing how to change my life from the inside out. And
mhm.
people are lost. People don't know how to do that. So getting around the right people, I took a lot of mentorship, a lot of coaching. I got around a lot of people that believed in me the way that I believed in myself, that let me go through that pain and suffering long enough so I can actually come out the other side of it this human. This Alexis didn't exist 4 years ago.
Right.
No way. No
Right.
shot.
Right.
No shot.
And you're still going to be changing and you're
Of
still
course.
going
Of
higher.
course.
Yep. Identity shifting is what we have to keep doing over and over
Constantly.
again. Yeah, we got to
Every
keep.
new income level requires a new identity, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know if you've noticed, and this is like a higher level thing that I train on. I study like actors and celebrities and, some of these people that are super hyper successful. A lot of them are like, they have narcissistic characteristics in their personality, you
Mm,
know? Like, because they're just always, remember, actors are always creating a new identity,
mm-hmm.
and their ability to just believe that identity is so unreal, they become it in the movie, and then they can use that skill to do anything else they want in life.
Yeah.
So it's a very dark double-edged sword
Mm,
success, because you
mm,
have to almost like change your identity all the time, and with that comes a lot of change in many different aspects of life. So it's a weird middle ground, and it's too much to unpack
yeah.
right now, but
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just more, what I want to say is it's a lot more than just cold calls and scripts. That is the superficial level of like action that you have to take. There's a lot
Yeah.
more that goes under that iceberg.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, we had none of this scripted or planned that we
No.
were going to talk about this.
But this is the important stuff. This is the
This
important stuff.
is, yes, this is the real stuff. This is the inner work,
Right.
and so much of what we do in real estate is inner work, our inner disciplines, our inner voices, right? What we're telling ourselves, what we're believing, right? And like you said, like when you're going on that growth journey and your family and your friends, they're like, who do you think you are? Like what are you even doing? I think that could be some of the hardest things to break, quick on that, do you have any tips on how to do that in a way where you can start separating yourself from those people and, just associating with that higher level people? Especially when we talk about friends and family, because I think
Yeah.
like haters on the internet or whoever, like that's easy, But do you have any tips on like with your friends and family, like how do you handle that, like when you're trying to change, when you're trying to be a new person, do you just block these people? Do you just like, because I hear two sides. People say, oh, don't, let your haters watch you, and then there's another side that just says like block them and just create your own thing. Like what have you found, what have you seen in maneuvering that aspect?
Yeah. I mean, definitely, picking your enemy and like having something to work towards is like temporary fuel, but that's all it is just like temporary fuel, like just proving people wrong. I have my 10-year high school reunion in a month, and I used to think forever that me pulling up in a Lamborghini with a Richard Mille on was going to be like the biggest FU to these people that all thought I was going to be a loser. And I'm literally gonna pull up with this is all I wear now, my Whoop, like I could easily have a $50,000 watch on, but it's like I don't really care right now to like impress you.
Mhm.
I want to be the guy that walks in the room that people are like, yo, Alexis is here. Like, do you hear everything that he's doing? I don't
Mhm.
want to be the one like having to say that I'm
Oh,
doing
yeah. Mhm.
anything. But I think cutting people off, it's like the people that I love the most, my family and my friends, when I was making these changes, I wanted to elevate with them.
Mhm.
Some people just don't want to. The ones that don't want to, once the opportunity is given, it's like, hey, look, respectfully, it's not about cutting it off. I have high school friends, very little, that I hang
Mhm.
out with once every 2 months, once every 3 months. We go to lunch, we go to dinner, we have one day where we barbecue, and that's it. We don't talk on the phone, we don't text, and they know. That's it. That's all you're gonna get, because when I hang out with them, it's this very limited scarcity
Mhm.
mindset, and it's like that's not how I operate, so little by little, just naturally, if you create a goal and you're serious about that goal, you write down on a piece of paper what you're willing to sacrifice and what you're not willing to sacrifice. And I
Mhm.
said, I'm willing to sacrifice everything, everything, because my people are my mom, my sister, my dad, my grandma, and my immediate cousins, and that's it. Everybody
Mhm.
else can go fly a kite. Because
Mhm.
honestly, like Carolyn, I was very pissed off when I started. Nobody believed in me, not even
Mhm.
my mom,
Mhm.
but I'm not going to turn against she had no reason to believe in me.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
just got to be honest with yourself about what you're willing to sacrifice. I did a training yesterday in Miami, like I said, and I said, who here wants to make $1 million a year in 5 years? Everybody's hand goes up. I go, actually, do you really know what that means? Like, do you actually know what it means to make $1 million a year? Why do you want it? Right? Do you need it? And what are you willing to lose to get it? Because everything is a take and give. You're going to
Mhm.
lose something to get something, and you lose sleep, you lose friends, you lose everything. You lose everything. I've lost so many experiences, birthday parties, events, baby shower. I don't even know what a baby shower is. I don't know what any of that stuff is. I don't go to it. I can't go to it right now. You understand? Like, I'm going to miss Thanksgiving this year because I'm going to be on the road. So
Mhm.
you have to really just be honest with yourself about what you want. Why do you want it? Because if it's just about the money, Carolyn, like once you get to your income threshold, once you have your basic needs taken care of, your drive will stop because you're going to hit a comfort level. Right now, for me, it's about other people, external. Like I want to help other people. So even on days where I don't feel like it, like today, I was kind of like, I woke up and I was a little tired, to be honest. Not
Mhm.
once, this is the first time that I say that I'm tired. I wake up and I'm like, oh, I'm so grateful to be, drained from all the opportunities that I have. Thank you. Let's
Mhm.
go. Let's get right back to it. It's just a
Mhm.
ton of sacrifice that comes with it, and you have to be honest about what you're willing to sacrifice. And for me, I'm willing to sacrifice everything,
Everything.
everything.
Yeah. Alexis, you are a gem. Thank you for sharing all this. Personally, I feel like it's like a free coaching call for me right now. I've gotten a lot, and I know people that are listening to this are have felt exactly the way that you have felt, and just seeing your growth journey, being transparent with us, being vulnerable. I really, really appreciate it. I had no intentions on going this direction. I thought we were going to talk about first sale by owners
Very
and
cool call. Right. I didn't
but
know what to expect, but again, it's just I want to be honest with people, and that's one thing that I have that I'm very vulnerable and I'm very open to it because again, it's like I have nothing to lose, and I want to help people. And there's so
and
much
this
bullshit on the internet.
yeah, so much bullshit. And the cold calls, the for sale by owners, all the things, if we don't have this inside work taken care of, if
Mhm.
we don't have that peace within ourselves, the gratitude, the identities, all the things that we talked about, you're not gonna stick with it because like you said, you could be tired. There's freaking never-ending rejection, especially with cold calling. No, 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 bang, bang, bang. Always share a story is when I first started, I cold called. I used to work as an ISA for a big realtor in Broward. And then I went to go for myself. I didn't get anything week one, week two, week three, going 40 hours a week on cold calls. On the fourth week, I finally got a yes, sat at a kitchen table, got my first listing 100% on my own. And that one check was literally 6 months of what the lady was paying me to be her ISA. Okay.
Right,
So 1 month of bang, 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 rejection, rejection, rejection. At the end of the day, it was more money than I had made in 6 months off of one call.
right,
Right.
right.
So it's like that inner work, that inner belief, that pursuit of yourself, that you're gonna do it no matter what, you are gonna succeed. without that inner work, just a script and just, oh, make your call calls,
Hmm.
you have to have that fortitude that's going to push you forward. So, I think what you shared today was invaluable. It's huge. Tell us a little how people can get connected with
Yeah.
you. You've got a lot of cool stuff going on. You're going on tour right now, which
Yeah.
is very exciting. Where are you going to be? Maybe some people can catch you.
Yeah, so right now we have Arizona booked. We're probably going to do a couple other West Coast stops along the way. We have Dallas, Austin, Nashville, Chicago, and then we have another event in Miami. But this is something that just, I finally said, you know what, it's time. We've been doing a lot of back end work and making sure everything's good with the team. And I'm going on the road indefinitely right now. So, November, December, January, February, that is my plan to just connect with brokers, team leaders, and just go in there and offer, trainings for realtors. And this is all, by the way, like on my dollar. I'm calling up people in my network and I'm saying, hey, I'm going to pay for my flight. I'm going to pay for my hotel. You set up the venue, you bring the agents, and I will go and train. It's
Yes.
great for exposure for the brand and stuff like that. But again, at the end of the day, this is a saying that's very important that I've learned. If you want to get paid a lot of money in life, you need to do a lot more than what you're paid for a long period of time. And then eventually you'll get paid a lot more for than what you do, And people don't like what you just said right there. You did a lot more for 4 weeks and you were getting paid for, and then you did one listing and you got paid more than you've ever been paid in 6 months. People don't understand that principle and they give up before the tide turns. They give up before the snowball rolls.
Right.
And I hope this video encourages them to keep pushing. And more importantly, like this is very important. I always say it, and people think it's a pitch. It's like you are costing yourself so much more money to not work with the right individuals. Investing in your education as a realtor is so important if you want to make six figures. Doctors, lawyers, engineers, they all have one thing in common. They went to school for, if not
Years.
10 years, 12 years to make it 200, $300,000. And we want to watch a free YouTube video and make 200 grand. It doesn't work like that. And
Right.
most realtors will either drop out of the industry or realize it way too late.
Right.
You not knowing how to make, let's say I asked an agent yesterday, how much was your goal for 2025? 300 grand. How much did you make? 100 grand. You not knowing how to make 300 grand costs you 200 grand. Education, whether it's your program, my program, communities, mentorships, masterminds, are significantly less expensive to get the right tools, get around the right people. People are your tools, people, relationships, network to actually show you how to get there. It's costing you a lot more money not to know how to do these things. So that's
Right.
what I would encourage at the end of this video to realtors is to get around the right people, find the right mentors, and invest into your education. You can't expect to take $1 million listing if you don't invest into your education. It's impossible.
Amen. Amen. So all of your links will be below, Alexis, so
Yep.
people can get
Instagram,
connected
YouTube
with
is where
you.
I'm really cranking right now.
Yeah.
And if anybody wants to have a conversation with me, I'm more than happy to do it as well. I'm here to serve and I'm here to help.
Thank you so much, Alexis. And he's with EXP, so he's
Yep.
licensed with EXP Realty, so we can also do co-sponsorship together. So if you're saying I gotta have a piece of Alexis in my life, then we can partner together and we can sponsor you into EXP. So thank you so much, Alexis, for
Thank
being
you
here.
for
It's
having
an
me.
absolute pleasure, and wish you all the success for your tour and everything you're doing. You're an amazing human being. Thank you. And everyone, we'll see you on the next one.
Thank
Bye.
you.